The thoughts and opinions of Skylar Sylvie expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the Grimm Times podcast or Jeff Jarman. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Anyway, we're here to talk about the desensitization in video games and other media, and a very controversial topic that's been going on for, well, since Sandy Hook. So anyway, here with me on this Grimm Times podcast number 6 is Jeff Jarman.
Hello.
Say hello, I guess.
Yes. All right.
Okay. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Well, I guess I'm gonna start off with a little miniature rant. Sort of is just to throw this out there. I'm all for the belief that it doesn't desensitize anything, and he's at the opposite. So enjoy this very controversial discussion full of pure emotion and psychotic rants. But I'm gonna spare you from it for the moment and hand the voting random icon or whatever the hell you want to call it, fucking that guy over there in the corner of Colorado.
Yes. Hello, I'm Jeff Jarman of the Jeff Jarman Show. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, Jeff Jarman Show, or Grimm Times Podcast. Obviously, is also on YouTube. So.
Unless, of course, you play Halo or listen to George Bush.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So I think I'm almost neutral on the topic, but I believe that it does desensitize you somewhat. If you see a person, well, I don't know, it's not black and white whatsoever, but if you see,
racist.
Well, Grand Theft Auto comes to mind as the one that everybody's always trying to pick on. Like, you just mow down people with your car pretty much a lot of times. And does that really make people want to go out and mow down people in real life with their car? It shouldn't unless they have psychological issues, but if they do, then yeah, it could affect that. Video games are no worse than any movie that you're going to see, like the Saw movies, for example. Those movies are far, far worse than anything video games have ever attempted. The only difference being with video games, you are in control, as where a movie, it's a third party who's controlling the action. Like, for example, a Call of Duty game. You could, take out 50 people on Call of Duty. But in real life, I really don't think that's going to make it any easier to actually take a real life human being's life from them. But again, when you watch a movie and you see this happening, you see these people dying and all this stuff, it does desensitize you a little bit, I think, because, you see a character die on a TV show, or you see one of these crime dramas like CSI or something. There's a dead body there, and these police are analyzing the dead body. And when you see that, you don't really see it as a person anymore. In every single episode, they show a different person, and you become like them. You're just analyzing the body. They're just a creature for your amusement at that point. And
okay.
In that sense, I think it does.
Okay, whatever. I don't even give a fucking shit if you saw some freaking person in a video game shoot down 50 fucking chickens in a goddamn row. I don't give a shit if you're watching goddamn, Rambo or something. Oh my god, fucking spoiler alert. And him shooting down like 50 fucking people with a goddamn 50 caliber machine gun in the back of a goddamn truck, and people exploding into fucking snot in a movie. I don't care if you're playing a video game, playing Mortal fucking Kombat, going around hacking people with a goddamn knife, and having sex with poodles while you're at it. I don't really give a shit. The fact of the fucking matter is that it doesn't happen. If you go up to some random fucking goddamn veteran somewhere and you go, oh, well, you shouldn't have post-traumatic stress disorder because, well, fuck, I was playing Grand Theft Auto just the other day and I just hacked up 50 fucking children, which you can't really do anyway, but the point is that Israel just did that. I go to war right now, you're a pussy. They'd smack you in the face, shoot you, chop off your head, and pee down your neck. I don't fucking know. But the overall point is that frankly, just the simple fact that video games and movies and all those other forms of media, when you're fucking watching it, it is not in a freaking reality freaking situation. You have in the back of your mind, you're sitting there going, oh well, it's still a video game, it's still a movie, it's still whatever. I actually saw this video on the internet of this American soldier getting his head slowly sawed off, seeing his facial expressions and everything with a goddamn, assumingly dull machete, because frankly, it took fucking forever to saw his head off. That fucked with my head. It pissed me off. In fact, I was furious. The fact is that in that sense, when you see it in reality, yes, that fucks with your head. But I don't care what exactly you do. I don't give a shit if you play video games. It cannot desensitize either one, the conscience whenever you're about to do something. It cannot stop you from having a conscience unless you're a sociopath, or it cannot stop you from having the regret later, because I honestly do not believe it is actually normal to the human mind to witness or to create the death of another human. I honestly cannot see it unless, of course, you're psychologically fucked up in the head. Begin with, which you would fucking do that anyway. So, frankly, you know what? Anybody can go on a stupid fucking rant about, oh my god, desensitized fuckingzation. I don't give a fuck, because it doesn't fucking happen. Unless, of course, you watch the news and every fucking day they have this stupid fucking bullshit about how some other motherfucker got killed on a video showing that damn thing over and fucking over again. That's my piece that I've said, and there's my rant.
Okay, well, um, pretty much I agree with you completely there. I will say that maybe if it did desensitize you, it would be toward that virtual reality or that TV show, for example. It would desensitize you in that sense. If you saw a crime scene in real life, though, it's going to affect you a lot differently because there's going to be a lot more
No, I
sensory
honestly,
items there, like the smell of this body,
yeah,
or
yeah, but I mean, in my personal opinion, it's like, yeah, if you're seeing dead people being one thing, to go up to see dead people, like people drive by and see dead animals on the side of the road all fucking day long. But if they actually hit an animal, some people, if they're not fucked up in the head, they'll spaz out about it. They're like, oh my god, I had to hit that animal. Or they're messed up. They're like, oh my god, I just fucked up my tire. But the point is that whenever that happens, a lot of people with a heavy conscience will be fucked up in the head by that. I don't care who it is. If you see a child on the side of the road dead, or you hit the child, it's going to mess with your head. If you're working in the crime scene investigation, you see dead children all the time. I don't think your mind would get used to that. But seeing a dead adult being a totally different level. But again, if you hate an adult, you might be a little worried. There is a boundary between seeing something dead and actually killing it. They're two very different things. It's like I shot a fox not too long ago. It was attacking the chickens. I shot that bastard like 3 times and it did not die. Okay, it is laid there. I mean, granted, I hit it only 2 of the 3 times. Actually, I shot it 3 times and only hit it twice. It laid there and was crying at me, which pissed me off because I'm like, I couldn't find it. I get up to it, and the bastard went fully silent and looked me dead in the eyes, and that fucked with my head. It really did. Never really got used to that. Like, to this day, it actually pisses me off. It's not that thing's fault. I mean, that it was going to its instinct. Its instinct would be to attack the chickens. It goes on basic primal nature, instinct. I'm just protecting the chickens. Okay? So, but it doesn't change the fact that I
protecting the
was
chickens so
affected.
you can eat them.
No, I don't eat we don't eat the chickens.
Why do you have them then?
Well, we don't even use them for freaking eggs anymore. We used to, but now we keep them just around because, well, number one, they eat all the bugs. They help with the bug population around the house, the bug population, and honestly, we just like them. You know,
Yeah.
we have a rabbit. We don't eat the rabbit. We have cats. We don't eat the cats. We used to have a donkey. He died, but we didn't eat him. So well, I grew up in an animal loving family. And, well, I mean, kind of. My dad hates dogs, but for the most part. But the overall point being is that that's how I was raised. Was always around animals. Humans being a totally different realm. I don't care fucking how much you you work in a thing. You might be desensitized to the smell. That's 100% correct. You may be desensitized to seeing those dead people. Yes. Maybe even if they're children. Sure, why not? But the act of killing them is completely different, and that's the overall point. It's like right now, the Sandy Hook thing. Most people cannot possibly imagine the thought of doing such a thing. And then on that, if I wanted to make it even worse, what if that guy had a fucking sword in his hand and was chopping all their heads off or chopping them in half? And then you just walk in and you're seeing these piles of bodies that are beheaded and shit. You know, that's not even funny. I'm not even making a joke. I'm just saying that just the very thought in that picture in your head is very highly disturbing, more so than what I just than a gun than the guns, the bullet holes and some blood. That's the two totally different things. They're both disturbing, but I'm sorry, but children chopped up in little pieces, I think is a little far beyond the realm of disturbing. So in my opinion, a person with an actual conscience would never ever do that. I don't care how many video games they played. I don't care how many movies they played. Those do not turn people into psychotic murderers.
No, you'd be one way beforehand to be able to do something like that anyway.
That's all I'm trying to say. So, this is where my big argument is. And I'm sorry, not really. If people are offended by my ranting and my incessant cussing and me getting really angry and worked up on the topic, well, good. You guys can go fuck yourself. But the point is that's my opinion, and I'll never change it unless, of course, I'm dead and have no room for actually changing shit except whether or not my body's dirt.
I think you put yourself in a hole there with the explanation on that one. But
That too.
yeah, I think you're kind of saying the same point I am. I mean, I think if it does desensitize you, it's only in that reality, in that TV show. It desensitizes you toward that character dying. In real life, it's going to affect you way differently. And even if it does only desensitize you in the film world, then does it even really matter? I mean, I don't know. That's pretty much the main point here. I mean, it's not black and white. But it can't be blamed on the media industry, basically.
Yeah. You know, it all started in the very beginning. It started out with comic books. They were blaming comic books for everything. And then it was music, and then it was movies, and now it's video games. They've been doing this forevermore because they can't accept the fact that the reason for the blame is not any media a human can produce. In fact, the very thought of that is completely retarded and obscure. In other words, you know, think about it for a second. Which one's more logical? A human creation creating the mentality in somebody's mind to do something, or an area in which somebody's raised and the environment they grew up with, whether it's poverty or something, creating a desperate mentality, racism, and other forms of prejudice, and thus causing such acts of violence. Most of these people who do these things that don't have that kill, like these gangs that kill people and beat people to death and rape old women and beat old women and stuff, they don't do that because they're desensitized. They don't do that because, well, number one, they can't even afford the video games, and even if they stole them and whatever, it's irrelevant because that's not what's doing it. What's doing it is they're fucked up in the head because of just
Their environment.
their environment that they're in.
Yeah.
And it is true. The human mind, or the humans are naturally they're naturally destructive. They're naturally psychotic, to an extent. They're naturally consuming of stuff. But the human mind, in its most natural, untainted state, cannot handle such a very complicated thing, as actually having to deal with the thought of somebody, dying by their own hand. Just think about what a mother thinks whenever their child dies at birth. What does that do?
Well, let's analyze something for a minute. Like you said, the normal human can't really deal with another human dying by their own hand. So does that mean that humans are inherently a good species and not for lack of a better word, evil?
I have my analysis on this is this. I believe humans in their natural like state, like just any not in any way raised by anything at all. If they're not raised, taught no morality, okay, at all, in that sense, they are naturally evil. They're like primates, except an evil primate, okay? But civilization, in its attempt, tries to bring morality and stuff. Doesn't necessarily mean it always does or anything. I'm just saying the initial idea to it is to bring order, and stuff like that, and to bring good and all that other stuff. If the parents of children have no morality, those children will have no morality. And another thing, in my mindset, the religion, or not all religion, but certain religions, such as you look at the like Christian Bible. Okay, there's an old quote back in the day, and I can't ever remember who says it, but he said that it was a guy that was one of the founding fathers actually, or one of the people involved with it. Is a evil God makes an evil human. So it is not very surprising that you read the Bible and it's got God like in every single action that you do wrong results in death in the Old Testament. You do anything wrong, even minor thing, well, it's right. It's okay, for somebody to kill you. God gives you permission. So it's not surprising to think the possibility that freaking this could create massive issues, and it fucking has.
Like
The
the
reason how
Crusades.
like the Crusades, a big example. Here's a good question. Explain that to me. Where was the fucking video games 5,000 years ago that created all this violence? What created 1099 AD when the Christian knights marched into Jerusalem and slaughtered every man, woman, and child within that building to the point they're walking ankle deep in blood? Okay? What video game created that? Nothing. Culture created that. And the culture wrapped around the negative end of religion and creating a religious extremism, or whatever the word would be. I can't even pronounce it right now. I'm kind of a little pissed off. I'm not trying to say that religion itself is bad. Its intent was always good, in theory, but how it's acted out and everything is not good at all in any way. The very act of people holding picket signs saying, "Oh my God, abortion is murder," is a sign of religious extremists. So that and within itself is not too far fetched from saying from a Crusades type thing. It's just a little less violent. So whatever.
Well, okay, so to wrap things up here, I mean, even now I'm getting a little worked up. Basically, with the video games thing, it's just a bunch of middle aged women, mothers, or congressmen, or whoever it is. They're trying to push these ideas through to get video games banned or get them labeled as being evil or all this stuff. They're just looking for something to blame because they can't handle the fact that their little boy or their child was a psychopath or that they had something wrong with them and were able to commit these kind of acts. They just need something else to blame because, it couldn't have been their kid. It couldn't have been anything wrong with them. It's just, it's so ridiculous and it affects everybody when they're
Look,
trying to say stuff like this.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm going to clarify something so that religious people don't get upset here too much. I'm not saying religion itself would cause an issue. I'm saying bad environment and bad culture mixed in creates bad sides to the religion. So, in other words, my point is a person in poverty that looks toward religion is more apt to take that religion to an extreme level than, let's say, a rich guy reading the Bible. So the point is that, and you're right, it is a bunch of middle-aged women and blah, blah, blah. If you want to fix violent acts in our country and in our culture, then here's a freaking idea. Fix the fucking culture. You take away poverty, and I guarantee 90% of every single problem will be gone.
Yeah,
So
Well, we're at the end of the podcast now, but I've just decided we're going to do a part two to this podcast, and it's going to be the very next episode. We're going to take a deeper look into what causes these psychological issues, what can be done to fix some of these issues, and also how it affects society in general. I'm Jeff Jarman with my co host Skylar Sylvie, and we will see you on the next episode of the Grimm Times podcast. Thanks for listening. Video games I've ever attempted. The only difference being with video games, you are in control, as where a movie, it's a third party who's controlling the action. Like, for example, a Call of Duty game. You could, take out 50 people on Call of Duty. But in real life, I really don't think that's going to make it any easier to actually take a real life human being's life from them. Um, but again, when you watch a movie and you see this happening, you see these people dying and all this stuff, it does desensitize you a little bit, I think, because you see a character die on a TV. Yes. All
Okay. Anyway,
right.
sorry to interrupt. Well, I guess I'm gonna start off with a little miniature rant. Um, sort of is just throw this out there. I'm all for the belief that it doesn't desensitize anything, and he's at the opposite. So enjoy this very controversial discussion full of pure emotion and psychotic rants. But I'm gonna spare you from it for the moment and hand the voting random icon or whatever the hell you want to call it fucking.
The thoughts and opinions of Skylar Sylvie expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the Grim Times podcast or Jeff Jarman. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Anyway, we were here to talk about the desensitization in video games and other media, and a very controversial topic that's been going on for, well, since Sandy Hook. So anyway, here with me on this Grim Times podcast number 6 is Jeff Jarman. Say
Hello.
hello, I guess.
You know,
Racist.
well, Grand Theft Auto comes to mind as the one that everybody's always trying to pick on. Like, you just mow down people with your car pretty much a lot of times. And does that really make people want to go out and mow down people in real life with their car? It shouldn't unless they have psychological issues, but if they do, then yeah, it could affect that. It's Video games are no worse than any movie that you're going to see, like the Saw movies, for example. Those movies are far, far worse than anything video.
That guy over there in the corner of Colorado.
Yes, hello, I'm Jeff Jarman of The Jeff Jarman Show. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, Jeff Jarman Show, or Grim Times Podcast, obviously, is also on YouTube. So,
Unless, of course, you play Halo or listen to George Bush.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, so I think I'm almost neutral on the topic, but I believe
Oh,
that it does desensitize you somewhat. If you see a person, um, well, I don't know, it's not black and white whatsoever, but if you see